A new car in America sells for about $48,000. The dealership that sold it keeps $1,781. That's 3.7%. Now walk past the glass, past the balloons, to the service bay in the back. A technician just handed someone a bill for $470. The dealership keeps about 220 of that. One transaction is worth 48 grand. The other is worth 470. The small one is nearly twice as profitable. The showroom is not where a car dealership makes money. The showroom is the most expensive customer acquisition tool in American retail. Here's the actual math. Start with the top line, because it's genuinely absurd. The average franchised car dealership in the United States does about $76 million a year in sales. In the first half of 2025 alone, the average store moved $38 million worth of product. There are roughly 17,000 of these dealerships, and together they cleared $1.3 trillion in a year. $76 million. That's a mid-size company. That's more revenue than most McDonald's franchisees will see in their entire lives. So where does the $76 million come from? 3 buckets. New cars, a bit over half the revenue. The average dealership sold 477 new vehicles in 6 months, at an average price of $47,971. Used cars, 32.6% of every sales dollar. Average used price, $28,602. Service and parts, the shop in the back, just 13.2% of the revenue. So on the revenue chart, the showroom is the whole business, and the service bay is a rounding error, 13%. It looks like the department you'd cut first. Hold that thought. It's about to invert completely. Here's the thing nobody tells you about a car dealership. Almost none of that $76 million is profit. The average dealership's net profit margin is 1 to 3% of revenue. Let that land. $76 million flows through the building, and somewhere between $760,000 and $2 million stays. Why? Because of what a car actually costs the dealer. Take that $47,971 new car. The dealer bought it from the manufacturer at invoice. The gap between what they paid and what you paid, the front-end gross, is $1,781. And that number is collapsing. In 2021 and 2022, when nobody could get a car, dealers were making $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 a unit. Customers were paying over sticker price and saying thank you. That's gone. Front-end gross on a new vehicle fell about 33% in 2024 alone, down to roughly $2,247 per unit, and it's kept sliding to that $1,781 figure. The reason is simple, and it's you. You can pull up the invoice price on your phone in the parking lot. Every dealer within 100 miles has their inventory listed online with the price on it. Price transparency ate the front end. Out of that $1,781, the dealership still has to pay the salesperson their commission, the sales manager, the finance manager, the receptionist, the light bill on a building with more glass than a small airport, the property taxes on 10 acres of prime commercial real estate, and the advertising. The car itself, in 2026, is close to a break-even product. Fine, you say. Used cars. That's where the margin is. Used vehicles used to be the escape hatch. No manufacturer telling you what to charge. No invoice price on the internet. Real pricing discretion. Except front-end gross on a used vehicle is now $1,253. That's lower than new. On a car that costs the dealer more risk, more reconditioning, more days sitting on the lot, and more chance the wholesale market moves against them before it sells. The used lot isn't the profit center anymore either. Carvana, CarMax, and every pricing algorithm on earth compressed that too. So we've now looked at 87% of the revenue, new cars and used cars, and found razor-thin margins on both. $76 million in. Where is the money? Two places, and neither one of them is a car. But before we get there, there's a reason that used car number isn't quite as bad as it looks. It has to do with where the used cars come from. A dealer can source used inventory two ways. They can go to auction and compete against every other dealer in the region, paying whatever the market says. Or they can buy it from you. Your trade-in is the cheapest acquisition channel in the entire business. And it's cheap for a reason. You have no leverage, no competing quotes, and no patience, because the alternative is 3 weekends of strangers texting, "Is this still available?" at 11 at night. More importantly, your car is the only one of its kind on Earth. Your mileage, your dents, your service history. Every other number in that deal is on the internet. Invoice price, market value, competing inventory, financing rates. Your trade-in isn't. It's the last opaque number in a business that transparency has otherwise stripped bare. This is why the salesperson asks about your trade before you've agreed on a single thing. And it's why "I'll give you 500 more on your trade" costs the dealership almost nothing. They move $500 from one column to another. That's the entire purpose of the 4-square worksheet. Price, trade, down payment, monthly payment. 4 boxes. Shuffle numbers between them until the total holds and the customer feels like they won something. You think you're negotiating one number. You're negotiating 4, and they only care about the sum. Here's the part that matters. The trade-in never appears as its own line on a dealership's financial statement. There's no trade-in profit category. It shows up as a used car with a lower cost basis, which is the same thing as profit, just wearing a different hat. That $1,253 of used front-end gross, a chunk of it was created in the 60 seconds a manager spent walking around your car with a clipboard before you ever discussed price. You bought the car. Congratulations. Now you get walked down a hallway into a small office with a closed door. This room is more profitable than the entire showroom floor. The average finance and insurance department makes $1,727 per vehicle retailed, and that's the all-dealer average. The publicly traded groups do far better, $2,534 per unit at the average public store. AutoNation reported $2,891 per vehicle in Q4 2025. Read that again. The finance office frequently makes more money on your car than the car did. And it happens in about 40 minutes, selling things that don't physically exist. Here's the mechanism. 2 profit streams. 1. The rate spread. The dealer sends your credit to a lender. The lender comes back and says they'll do the loan at 6.5%. The dealer is permitted to write the contract at 6.8, 7.0, 7.25, and keep the difference, capitalized over the life of the loan. The average new car loan rate in America is 6.80%. Some of that spread is the dealer's. 2. The products. Extended warranty, gap insurance, paint protection, tire and wheel, key replacement. The dealer markup on a vehicle service contract is typically 50% or more of the retail price and can run 50 to 200% over wholesale cost. One extended warranty can add over $1,000 of pure gross to the deal. And here's the part that makes it work. The payment. Nobody in that room is discussing prices. They're discussing $749 a month, because that's the average new car payment now. When a $1,800 warranty becomes $25 a month, resistance evaporates. This is also why loan terms keep stretching. 29.2% of new vehicle financing is now 73 to 84 months, 6- and 7-year car loans. A longer term makes the payment smaller, which makes room for more product. The showroom sells you a car at 3% margin. The room down the hall sells you air at 50. Now the real answer. The one that reframes the whole business. Remember service and parts? 13% of revenue. The rounding error. Service and parts generate roughly 50% of the dealership's total gross profit. NADA's own data puts fixed operations at 45 to 55% of total gross at the average franchise store. Top performers exceed 60. 13% of the money, half the profit. Because the margins aren't 3%, they're 45 to 50%. The math on a labor hour, the dealership bills you $150 for an hour of a technician's time. The technician costs them maybe $50. That's $100 of gross profit on 1 hour from one bay with no inventory risk, no floor plan interest, and no salesperson taking a cut. American dealerships wrote 276 million repair orders in a year. Service and parts sales topped $164 billion. There's an industry metric that tells you everything. It's called absorption rate. What percentage of the dealership's entire overhead, every salary, every light bill, every insurance premium, the whole building, is covered by service and parts gross profit alone. The industry average is about 68%. NADA's published target is 115%. Think about what 115% means. It means the service department alone pays every bill in the building, plus a 15% cushion, before a single car is sold. At that point, every vehicle on the showroom floor is pure incremental profit. That's the actual business model. The showroom is not a store. The showroom is a customer acquisition funnel for the service department. You are not the customer when you buy the car. You become the customer for the next 10 years, $470 at a time. Luxury dealers understand this best. BMW, Mercedes, and Lexus stores routinely run 90 to 110% absorption on higher labor rates and premium parts margins. One more thing, because it explains the desperation you feel on the lot. Those 200 cars gleaming outside, the dealer doesn't own them. They're financed on a revolving credit line called floorplan, and the dealership pays interest on every single car, every single day it sits there. Nationally, new vehicle inventory sits around 2.5 million units. Every one of them is accruing interest. This is why a car that's been on the lot 90 days gets discounted into oblivion. It's not generosity. It's not a great deal for you. That car is bleeding, and the bleeding compounds daily. A dealer will happily lose $300 on the front end to stop paying interest and reset the clock. It's also why the last 3 days of the month look like a hostage negotiation. Manufacturer volume bonuses are paid on hitting a target. A dealer can lose money on the final 8 cars and still come out ahead if car number 8 triggers a 6-figure bonus check. The dealership isn't selling you a car. It's managing a debt clock and chasing a manufacturer's scoreboard. So, how much money does a car showroom actually make? The average publicly owned dealership generated $4.1 million in adjusted pre-tax income in 2025. That's the top end. Professionally managed, high volume, best in class. The average store overall is closer to 1 to 3% of that $76 million. $4 million is real money, but look at what it takes. 10 acres of commercial real estate, a multi-million-dollar building the manufacturer requires you to renovate on their schedule, 100 employees, $30 million of floor plan debt, and a franchise agreement that lets the manufacturer dictate how you operate. And here's the last twist, the one that explains why anyone does this at all. The profit isn't the point. The asset is. The average publicly owned dealership carries a blue sky value of $19.0 million. That's the goodwill value of the franchise, on top of the real estate, on top of the inventory. In 2025, 616 dealerships changed hands, 50% above the pre-pandemic average. You don't get rich running a dealership. You get rich owning a franchise license that appreciates, harvesting $4 million a year while you hold it. and selling the thing for 19 million plus the land. It's not a car business. It's a real estate and licensing business, with a car business attached to generate the cash flow. So the next time you're standing in that showroom, staring at a $48,000 car, remember, that car makes them $1,781, 3.7%. The 40-minute conversation in the finance office makes them more than the car did, and the $470 oil change you'll come back for 11 times over the next decade, that's the department that pays for the building you're standing in. The showroom was never the business. The showroom is the bait. If you want the next one, I'm breaking down how much money a car wash actually makes, and the margins there are genuinely offensive. Subscribe so you don't miss it.